Thank you so much for your patience, and it's great to be with you all today. The title today is Resources, Support, and Hope for Families Affected by Dementia, and it's quite an honor to be with you today. I appreciate the translation. Hopefully we can make this meaningful for you today. Okay, so I'm going to start dementia is a big topic, but let me talk in general here that dementia has many causes resulting in functional decline. While each person is unique, generally thinking, memory, and daily activities are dramatically affected. Should I do the whole slide?
You do the whole slide and I will finish the Chinese translation.
Okay. So we have 4 bullets here. The next one is that to respond and compensate for lost abilities, family members find themselves deciding who is going to support the person with dementia. Most of all, how are you going to do it? New roles can include joining in on doctor appointments, providing transportation. Perhaps you start managing the home or the finances, and eventually addressing basic personal care needs and even safety. Changes like these are often present as unplanned and confusing transitions. Families can be so resilient, adapting to meet these changing needs, yet there are so many different emotions: shock, denial, anger, sadness. These are familiar, aren't they? Because these are all normal feelings when you're processing grief. Ideally, we get support early and we get it often. You start by reaching out when we recognize possible symptoms of dementia, as doing so really helps maximize the health and wellness of everyone in the family. And support, why support matters? Support matters because it's protective. It's a protective quality. Foremost, many services and support, they're designed to reduce the stress of care for a person with dementia, as well as the caregiver. Whether it's greater understanding of the person's behaviors, having additional people to help out, or perhaps support allows you enough time to take care of yourself. This is important. Next, support shows someone that they are valued. And so this relationship strengthens both in receiving and giving of assistance. We hope to reduce isolation, and we know that interdependence, it strengthens relationships by realizing I am not alone. Safety is better when relationships are stronger and family communication is effective. Improved physical safety is possible through home modifications and technology, even making the environment more secure. Because we know that people with dementia, they have a high risk of going missing. So having enough support really matters. With gaps in function being addressed in supportive ways, one's overall quality of life is enhanced. Now you know a little bit about dementia, and you know a little bit about how important the support is. One way of looking at dementia care, our response to it, is with 6 different components here. They're both medical and emotional care areas to address. Knowing this, we explore the types of direct care resources and the need for legal and financial planning. And important along the way is effective communication and connections to lift feelings of burden, to allow more energy to focus on hope and purpose. And then putting it all together. This is really how we can find that dementia care can really offer special meaning to our lives. We'll start with medical and care resources. These are foundational to dementia care. First off is getting an early diagnosis. This is recommended, and it generally starts with your primary care evaluation. You're looking at symptoms, you're looking at history, and often the results from screening questions that the medical provider asks. Dementia symptoms can be then further evaluated by a neurologist, or a memory clinic can also be involved when needed, actually. And providers work to rule out any reversible causes that may be involved so they can treat those first. Ongoing medical care is important to see that treatments such as medications are helping. These appointments also assist the family members that are involved, such as when they're trying to manage behavioral symptoms. Safety and care planning is important to see that treatments that, important, especially when we look at in the home. One of the earliest safety issues that comes up is related to driving. And so when needed, the DMV Safety Division can gather information to determine if it's time for the person to stop driving. And usually, of course, that time comes, but when, right? And then care models usually focus on staying at home as safely as possible. It's what most of us want. Each of us is unique, though. So there is value in having care management or navigation services involved. They really help us balance what do we want, what are we needing, and what care options are available in our location and at our price point. So then the second component we move on to is emotional and practical support for the caregiver. I think most of us would agree that caregiving can result in times of exhaustion, irritability, sleep changes, feeling isolated, and feeling perhaps guilty. These are normal experiences while caregiving, and they can be managed and minimized by getting support early on in the dementia journey. It's recommended to build a care team. And what I mean by that is that you can't do it really alone. You need to have personal relationships, family, friends, as well as professionals, maybe medical providers or social workers as well. And consider ways to connect with your peers. This means people that are going through the very same thing. This gives us education and opportunities to share with others that really understand the caregiving role. As caregivers, we need to set realistic expectations as well. It's difficult to be helpful without adequate sleep and nutrition ourselves. So review self-care for your own mind, body, and soul, including time for practices, perhaps meditation, physical movement, and time for stretching. I encourage seeking a support group as well, because you quickly learn you're not alone. There's many of these groups offered at little or no cost. Some meet in person, many of them. There are many online as well today, and other groups may just require getting on the telephone. Very easy. Generally, these meetings reduce common feelings of isolation, and we hear some practical tips, or maybe we even share tips ourselves. So the third component is really thinking about the community and national resources available. As you can see, there's local community resources, there's education and training, and then the national organizations out there. So local resources, that's a lot about my job. They include adult community centers. You can find them at faith communities, nonprofit organizations, and medical providers such as hospitals like Faye and I provide. In our area, we are also lucky to have Happy 50 Plus Foundation, which provides education, volunteer support, and community opportunities as well. Local nonprofits designed to serve caregivers include Alzheimer's Los Angeles and USC Family Caregiver Support Center. These are both in our community at no cost, and they offer online modules as well as caregiver workshops and much, much more. At the national level, now we have services under Medicare. Those that have original Medicare versus a senior advantage plan can look into some added care management support. These resources are referred to as chronic care management and also the GUIDE program. And then there's a longstanding national organization when we think of dementia, that's the Alzheimer's Association. They provide a very good 24/7 helpline. So you always have someone day or night that you can reach out to consult about dementia care. Very important in this whole process, the number 4 component is financial and legal planning. So you see we have legal tools, financial planning, and scam prevention here. These financial and legal planning involve setting up ways to allow care and support for another person. Legal tools may allow a caregiver to access the financial resources needed to make and pay for care arrangements, people to come alongside us as a family. Legal tools may be arranged through estate planning, and generally they include an advance directive. This guides you when you want to have someone make your care decisions. They also will know your care preferences. Power of attorney documents can be put in place for both health decisions and for financial management. They really come along and facilitate dementia care, so the care team, including family members, are aware of what care is wanted. Without estate planning, conservatorship may be the final option that will be sure a person's care needs are addressed. And this is the most costly and most restrictive way of managing financial and legal needs. So financial planning is important. By understanding care costs earlier in life, one may reduce stress later. Some may be able to obtain long-term care insurance, and this is generally helpful depending on the policy. One may also learn that they're eligible for benefit programs, so things like Medi-Cal programs, or recognize they need to plan for some home modifications at the home so that they can be sure to be able to stay in their home later in life. And I add here scam prevention, because fraud and financial scams are becoming more common and often target older adults. Protecting personal information and having safe financial practices is critical. You don't want to avoid, you want to avoid not losing resources that you're going to count on for future care. Families sometimes decide to include monitoring of accounts, so working together as a family to prevent scams is very important. So number 5, this is a lot, right, so far. And so communication and connection are really important to bring all these components together. We want to be able to communicate well with the person living with dementia, preserve dignity, and family communication. Depending on the stage of dementia, verbal communication may need some changes, maybe to slow down and be shared in more simple ways. It may be helpful to use visual cues, like pat a chair to say, come sit down, and be careful that there's not a lot of distractions going on. You want to validate the person, their feelings. This is always helpful, even if their words are not correct. Knowing that one is understood, it goes a long way, and there's really little point to try to correct someone who is not going to remember what you just said. We want to preserve dignity when we offer choices. Think of this as coming alongside someone and encouraging the independence where possible of a person with dementia. You want to celebrate their strengths, really focus on meaningful moments, really dignity. It's the central component of compassionate care. And as a family, ideally, we work to come up with shared expectations as a group. What responsibilities will we take on? And when conflicts come up, we work together to navigate them. Because family unity, it's going to reduce the burden of caregiving. It's going to actually reduce the idea of burnout, caregiver burnout. And finally, the 6th area or component today is hope and meaning. And I have to say, sometimes people are a little taken aback by that. Is there hope with something like dementia? But there are moments of joy that happen. Hope is found in everyday moments, and they deepen the relationships that we have. They remind us that small successes really do matter. Support, having this support of the care team that you have, it's really so important. And it's found in the everyday moments of life. They deepen the relationships we have and remind us that small successes really do matter. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It's really meant to provide that care is not alone. Support comes alongside you, right? A sense of community lightens your load, and dementia care and professionals can come alongside when needed to join the journey that you're on. By sensing support, both you and the person with dementia, really that space gives you that sense of hope together. Many of us see caregiving as an act of love. We experience times of personal growth during this time. You often are honoring the person's life story, you're the one that knows it, right? You may really be able to sustain the caregivers through difficult times, and dementia care provides a meaningful purpose in your relationship. So we've gone through the 6 components, and we're talking now how putting it all together really can help us develop meaning to our lives. We know that support is available. This is kind of a summary here. Support is available. Resources, they are expanding. As I mentioned, Medicare has added new resources, as has Medi-Cal. Families can find strength by working together and by finding others to help them. And then thinking that hope, is really real, that families are not alone. And dementia changes many things, but it does not erase the person or the family's capacity for connection. Okay, well, this is information about where I work. We've set aside some time for questions, and you're welcome to call or email if you'd like, in my role as a resource specialist, to get more specific resources designed to help navigate when experiencing challenges related to aging. Thank you so much for, this has been an experience to stay on track and have this wonderful support from Amanda. Thank you for this opportunity, Amanda. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Adria. Thank you. We appreciate your presentation, all the information and resources